Hi guys, today we're going to go ahead and review the Moto X Pure. Let's go ahead and do this, baby. Hi guys, so first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the size. When I first got this phone, I didn't realize how big this phone was. Let me actually give you a quick comparison test here between my Note 5 and the Moto X Pure. It is definitely a phablet type of device, as you can see here. It is actually slightly wider and slightly taller than the Note 5. And I've also got the Note 4 here. It's slightly narrower and about the same height as the Note 4. Compared to the Nexus 6, it's slightly shorter and slightly narrower. So you have to really realize that this is a phablet type of device. If you like smaller size phone like the Galaxy S6, this phone is going to be too large for you. So bear that in mind before you decide on getting the Moto X Pure. Now with the size out of the way, how is the build quality on the Moto X Pure? I really dig the style. It's got the metal frame, metal buttons on the right. It's got nothing on the left. Now on the bottom, you'll find a single micro USB port. Moto X Pure also supports Quick Charge 2.0, so you can go ahead and charge it super fast. It actually charges much faster than the Note 5. One of the main reasons is that the adapter used for the Moto X Pure uses 12 volts over 2 amps, while the Samsung Quick Charger is only rated for 9 volts 1.67 amps. So as far as charging goes, this is one of the fastest charging phones out on the market today. I actually shot a test video that I'll upload soon with the Note 5. It actually charges maybe 10-20 minutes faster than the Note 5. Alright, up at the top you get the single 3.5mm headphone jack. You got the micro SD and nano SIM card slot right there. Probably one of the coolest features that surprised me when I got this is the colors you can actually choose. Don't order your phone on Amazon or eBay because you won't be able to customize it. If you're going to get this phone, get it straight from Motorola.com. Then you'll be able to customize the back covers like I did. You can also customize the metal colors back here and also the speaker grills here. Also, you can customize the color of the borders here. Now, one of the problems with the Note 5 and the Galaxy S6 is that silver and gold wasn't available at the time of its release. I would have to wait a couple months longer to actually get the gold version. Now, a lot of you may not like my green colors, but I think it matches my green shirts, all of my green stuff that I like. So I really like the fact that I can actually make it the color I want, not just white, black, gold, and silver. Alright, as far as customization, this is one of the most highly customizable phones out there, and that's all at price of less than $400. And don't forget the engraving, which is a nice bonus. Now, apart from customization, what is really cool? Probably the two things Motorola did right this year isn't just the customization, it's the price and the 1440p display. My biggest complaint with the OnePlus 2 or the HTC One is that it doesn't have 1440p screen. Now, 2 years ago when LG G3 came out, 1440p wasn't a big deal. Nobody was making 4K videos. Well, fast forward 2 years now, there's a ton of 4K videos. I make every one of my videos in 4K, and YouTube has an option to view it in 1440p. So if you've never seen 1440p videos on YouTube, maybe because you use an iPhone, this is probably the lowest cost phone you can buy that comes with the latest 1440p screen and a Snapdragon 808 processor. The screen itself is beautiful. Compared to the Galaxy Note 5, it's just as crisp and clear. Let me give you a quick example here. Now, this is a video I took the other day with my Moto X Pure in 4K. You can see right now it is actually playing back in full 1440p. The resolution is clear and crisp. Between the Note 5 and the Moto X Pure, you really can't tell a difference. And as far as the screen brightness goes, the Note 5 is a lot brighter. Let me actually give you a light test here. You'll see that I get almost 770 lux with the Note 5. With the Moto X Pure, I get about 414. But in real life usage, it's not gonna matter a ton. Unless you work as a lifeguard on the beach in the sun all day, it's probably not gonna matter too much. I've been actually daily driving the Moto X Pure for the last 7 days, and I have to say, the display is excellent, crisp and clear. I haven't had brightness issues. I usually have to turn it down. But if you absolutely need to get the brightest screen in the world, the Note 5 you simply can't beat. I know a lot of you asked me on live stream, should I get a Moto X or OnePlus 2? I would definitely pay extra $50 to get the Moto X Pure just because of the 1440p display. Also with the 1440p screen, you will be able to review your 4K videos in 1440p instead of 1080p, which is much higher in resolution. It's a great way to view videos. Now, if you don't watch a lot of videos, perhaps you don't record videos in 4K much, then you may want to stick with a 1080p screen. But the world is changing. I feel like all the flagships are now in 1440p, except the few like the HTC One. And why would I still want to use a 1080p screen? I mean, that's your choice. I'm just saying at $400, having a 1440p screen alone is an awesome feature. All right, next let's talk about carriers. This is a phone that supports AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, and Verizon. I've actually tested them all. You get full 4G LTE data, voice just fine on all 4 networks. I've got Verizon wireless SIM card in here right now, and I really love the fact that I can use my Verizon SIM without having a locked bootloader, without being locked to Verizon's Nazi-like position on locking bootloaders. Screw that, just get the Moto X Pure, problem solved. All right, next let's talk about the camera. The 4K video recording is awesome on the Moto X Pure. As you can see in my 4K cinematic video, you get very nice, crisp, detailed 4K videos out of the Moto X Pure. Now, it has no OIS like the Note 5 or the LG G4, but it still has great video stabilization. It's like, I can't believe there's no OIS, but it takes videos just as good as one with it. Compared to the Note 5 and the LG G4, I think the stabilization on the Moto X Pure is just as good. I've taken videos on a tripod, I've taken handheld shots. The Moto X Pure has one of the best video cameras in the world. Now, one thing that's missing with the video camera is that there's no manual focus. Instead, it will actually take photos. It is a little bit annoying, but Motorola may be able to fix that with a software update. All right, you can also go ahead and twist the phone to activate the camera. As far as the stills go, I'm gonna tell you it's not the best camera in the world in low light. In bright light, it's gonna perform just as good as the Note 5 or the LG G4. In low light, it's just not gonna perform as good. I'll eventually have a detailed camera comparison, but for right now, if you want the best low light camera, this is simply not it. I would definitely get the Note 5 or the LG G4. Of course, one thing really cool with the Moto X Pure is that with the flash on, you can actually control the exposure level. So if you want to take the photo like this, or you want it with less flash, you can really control how much flash you want to make use of in your photos, as you can see here. But going back to the price, at the price of $399, 21 megapixel camera, excellent 4K video recording. I mean, it's a pretty awesome phone for all those specs. Next, let's go into the UI. If you don't like TouchWiz, if you don't like third-party themed UI, you're gonna love how Moto X Pure is. This is basically a Google Nexus phone with slight Motorola add-ons, but other than some voice commands that Motorola added on, you'll not notice difference between this one and a Nexus phone. It is running the latest Android 5.1.1. Also, it is very easy to unlock the bootloader and root and install custom ROM. If you're a flashaholic, you like modding your phone, installing custom ROMs, this is one of the best phones you can get this year to do that. And oh yeah, don't forget about the front camera flash. You'll be able to take those excellent selfies in front of the club, in the dark, in low light. Having front camera flash makes sense. Never mind that you can also make videos in low light using the front camera. That is pretty awesome. Next, let's talk about the battery life. Battery life on the Moto X Pure isn't exactly the best I've tried. It's a little bit less than my Note 5, but it's actually a lot better than my Galaxy S6. So even though it's got a 3000 milliamp hour battery, I think the LCD technology on it drains a lot of the battery versus the Note 5's AMOLED. It is actually a lot more energy efficient. But don't get me wrong, you'll be able to get full day of use with the Moto X Pure. It really depends on your usage. But for me, I can go from 8 AM to 5 PM before I need to charge my Moto X Pure. With the Note 5, I get maybe an hour or two more. So it's not a huge deal. Also, it does support Quick Charge 2.0, which is the fastest in the world. You can go ahead and grab a quick charger for your car, your office, your home. You'll be able to go from 0 to 100 in just about 50 minutes. Alright, let's talk about the performance on this bad boy. It's got a Qualcomm Snapdragon 808 processor, just like the LG G4. I feel like the overall performance is excellent on this phone. You can play all of the latest games. All the games run super smooth. You're not gonna have a problem with performance on this phone. The back does get a little bit hot sometimes, but it's not a huge problem. But if you absolutely need to have the fastest processor in the world, definitely, I would probably go with the Note 5, the Galaxy S6. Alright, just Qualcomm really botched it this year because Qualcomm botches it and it goes on everyone's phones. So Snapdragon 808, I think it's okay. Snapdragon 810 has some heating issues. I mean, the performance gains you get with this year's Qualcomm chips in general are kind of not as good as the one we got with Snapdragon 805 last year, the 801. I mean, you can overclock the hell out of these. These, I don't think you can, and it's Qualcomm's first time into octa-core chips. So I feel like next year we'll have better phones with better chips, but for now it's satisfactory. I'm not saying performance is out of the world like the Note 5, but for 400 bucks, it surely beats any smartphone from last year, and you should have no problems daily driving unless you play a ton of games, maybe play games all day long. Alright, Moto X Pure has probably one of the best voice commands out there. Boom shakalaka. Get a list of commands. Alright, these are some of the examples you can ask. Boom shakalaka. Take a selfie. So that's really cool. Your phone can be off and you can do the commands. Boom shakalaka. Set an alarm clock for tomorrow at 7 a.m. That's it. So it can actually be useful, and I've been actually using my Amazon Echo. I use that exclusively to turn off my living room lights. If you have a certain need to use voice commands, perhaps you have a backache that's hard for you to walk around and maybe your phone's somewhere on the table, but you want it to do something like boom shakalaka, open Pandora. And it can do a lot of things for you without you ever even touching your phone. I personally don't use this feature that much, but the feature is there and it can be very useful to some people. Boom shakalaka. Find my phone. Like if you lose your phone, you can go ahead and talk to it. You know, the microphone is very sensitive. Okay, shut up. The microphone is very sensitive, so you'll be able to easily find your phone. There's other stuff you can do with it. Maybe I'll make a video about that. I can go on days about how great the Moto X Pure is, but the bottom line, it really is the price and the display. Oh, and I forgot to give you the tour of the SIM card. Of course, with the 16 gigabyte model at just $399, can you get away with it? You will only be able to make use of 12 gigabytes of it in real life usage. So what you can do is get one of these 64 gigabyte SD cards, stick it in there. Instantly you went from 16 to 80 gigabyte phone. So that's a nice feature. You can go ahead and put all of your photos and 4K videos on the SD card. Move all of your large games to the SD card. So with the 16 gigabyte, you can actually get away with the Moto X Pure. I buy a lot of phones and I have a lot of cheap ones. I have really nice ones. Most of the time, I actually go back to the Note series, whether it's a Note 4, Note 5. I really love the big screen size, also the 1440p display, the performance, the camera. I mean, it's excellent. But would I choose the Moto X Pure over the Note 5? Actually, I've been using it. I really dig the Moto X Pure. Even though the still camera isn't good as the Note 5, I mostly use a lot more 4K video recording, and also having the micro SD card option is great because I make a lot of videos. Having that option allows me to easily swap out the micro SD card. The only complaint I have for this phone is that there's actually not that many cases for it, and plus I don't want to get a case that's gonna cover my nice design here. But it's a pretty durable phone. It's much more durable than the Note 5. Obviously you don't have the glass back. You just have to worry about the front glass not breaking it. And also it's only 400 bucks, so I'm not hugely concerned about breaking this phone versus the $700 Note 5, which just looks like a piece of art I don't want to drop. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're asking me whether to get this or the OnePlus 2, I would definitely have to choose the Moto X Pure. I really dig this phone. It's a nice phone. For 400 bucks, you get a ton of things, all carriers out of the box. I don't have to be locked into contract. I can take this phone and be a pimp. Let the carriers be my bitch. It's a pimp phone. You get to be a pimp and you get to choose which carrier you want to run it on. You don't like that carrier? No worries. Go to another carrier, but carry your phone with you. And I know a lot of you are gonna be asking me about Nexus 6 versus the Moto X Pure. I'll probably have another video on that. But I really like the Moto X Pure. I feel like the Nexus 6 is actually a little bit too big. It is like a huge phone. I mean, it's a huge phone. I just feel like this is perfect size. The 5.7 inch, I think it's a sweet spot for a lot of you guys out there looking for the best phablet. So I would still say the Note 5 is still king of phablets, but if you're tired of upgrading your phone every year, perhaps you want to have some money left over so you can buy another phone every year, the Moto X Pure is an excellent choice. Anyway, you don't have to get jealous. You can just buy this phone for $399. Go to Motorola.com. I'm really proud of Motorola this year. Usually I make fun of them. I say hella crap about their phones, about how crappy they are. But they really impressed me this year. This is the first time I actually been able to use a Motorola phone more than a week. So this is the first time I really fell in love with this phone. So I highly recommend it. If you want to get a flagship phone for the fraction of the price, Moto X Pure is definitely it. Anyway, thanks guys for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, or Google+, Instagram. And I'll see you guys soon. As always, stay